You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, we are YBM Chat Podcast. Instagram at YBM Chat. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at YBM Chat.
All right.
Hey, it's Dashia D.
Hey, it's Cassondra.
Hey, y'all, it's Tre'Dub.
It's your girl, LadiiNova.
And we are
YBM Chats.
young Black millennials offering you a fresh new take you didn't know you needed.
Boy.
So I really don't feel like there's too much for Boy E because with elections and everything, that's the main topic of when is Trump leaving. Ivanka thinks that she's still going to hold a place in the White House. No, ma'am. Go right along with your daddy. Keep it moving. We don't want none of y'all asses in there. You shouldn't have been there in the first place. And then we have, of course, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are trying to push vaccines for COVID-19. That is their top priority right now, is to get this stuff over and done with. Well, not over and done with per se, but get ahead on it the way we should have. Because again, President Obama said that he left them a book before leaving, because it's not like this just popped up on us. It's been there, and they just used the book like a doorstop and then just ended up throwing it away.
I would say boy ye to the neighbors that I have that drive a black pickup truck that have an American flag on one end and a Trump flag on the other. Get over it. He lost. It's over.
Let me talk to that boy Ye Desha, because boy fucking Ye to Donald Trump Jr. talking about some over 7 million Republicans pissed off because he lost and ain't nobody looting and ain't nobody rioting. Oh, that's because none of them didn't have cops busting in their house and shooting them or whatever. Like that thing really pissed me off, because I was like, I don't know if y'all saw that.
The world's smallest violin.
I was like,
it is the funniest thing to me. They cannot accept this loss. Like, y'all feelings are but hurt. Now, what I will
they cry and whine.
What I will say is the fact that Biden exceeded the number of votes that President Obama had, like when he first came out. That really shows that you got more people out. Like, it's serious. They really realize, like, okay, our voices do count. It does matter, and we are part of the results. So if we don't get our asses out there to vote and make our voices heard, nothing's gonna happen. So again, shout out to Miss Stacey Abrams for getting all those people registered to vote, and look, you're ready to go. And then, like, so you got her, you got all of the people. I'm not gonna say little people, just people who are out here pushing, going door to door, make sure you vote. Even though y'all was stressing me out, texting my phone, I don't know who told y'all to start doing that. In this our year, I was Jesus Christ. Oh, my boy. So
our topic for today is body shaming. I would love to know what y'all definition for it is, and then I'll explain what Webster's definition is.
Who would you like to go first?
Oh, LadiiNova.
I guess I set myself up for it. So my definition is literally what it is: body shaming. So anything on you that other people don't deem attractive or just not their particular standard, whether theirs or society's particular standard of what's acceptable to be beautiful.
Dashia?
So we debated this before we recorded, but I would say anytime someone is ridiculed for a physical feature, whatever that may be. So if it's their actual body size, the way it's shaped, any kind of physical features on their face,
Trey?
Yeah, so mine kind of like is similar to both of their definitions. So anytime where a physical feature is deemed inappropriate based on society or based on an environment in some ways, so certain imperfections based off the surroundings, I guess.
So Webster's definition said, an act or practice of subjecting someone to criticism or mockery for supposed bodily faults or imperfections. So y'all were perfect with y'all definitions. So before we get into it, I would love to get personal with y'all. So okay, by that definition, what? Oh my gosh!
I mean, you say getting personal.
Okay, like you
got the whole wine bottle. What are some things that y'all were like body shamed for? Trey.
Dang, I set myself up. Okay, so I definitely was body shamed a lot growing up, like mostly in elementary and middle school. So believe it or not, y'all, I was a tubby kid.
We got pictures.
Yes. Yes. So I was definitely overweight child. Like when I say like I was a whole 9 yards. So that, and I was also body shamed for having a hairy neck at a young age. I got body shamed, and even so to this day, some of my friends joke about my wide nose, or wide nostrils, if you will. I've been called snout before, and then having a much bigger derriere or backside, so if you will. So yeah, I've definitely been body shamed in that sense. So yeah.
LadiiNova.
Oh, where does this list start? Okay. Of course, y'all can see it if y'all watch the video, which you should, so that you can see what I'm pointing out. My face. I've had an issue with that since maybe middle school. So acne came up. I had an issue with clawing at it because of stress, and I don't know why I did it. It just was a thing. Started wearing glasses in probably 4th or 5th grade, so it was always, why not get contacts? You'd look better without glasses. Well, bitch, here I am, and this is the result. So there's nothing I can do about that now. I cannot see my smile because I have an overbite. And again, watch the video so you can see what I'm pointing out. This area right here, people thought that I had a missing tooth. No, I have no teeth missing. That's just how it grew back in, so I have that space. And I was like, get braces to cover that up and straighten up your teeth. And my size. You can still see that I'm small, I'm skinny, but it was worse when I was younger. So I was always supposed to be happy because I was skinny, which is not a thing. And I don't know why people think it is a thing, but yeah.
Dashia.
The only thing that I was ever picked on as far as physical features go was always my weight. It was never really anything else that I can think of other than my weight. Yeah. And I feel like that happened elementary through middle school mainly. I mean, people may have said comments in high school, but I don't think it affected me as much as it did in elementary and middle school.
And I mean, like Dashia said, it was my weight too. Cause I mean, if y'all watch these, y'all know I'm big. But I feel like it was that and the fact that I don't got no ass. So people used to call me, well, y'all used to call me.
Don't say y'all. Don't say y'all.
do not put me in there. I did not like you in high school to even say that.
SpongeBob square ass, because it is flat and it's okay, you know? I mean, it is what it is. We were all friends, you know what I'm saying? So when it came from somebody that didn't know me or somebody that wasn't my friend, then it was like, all right, no, it's not funny, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But
for
yeah,
the record, for the record, when people would say that to you, even though you were laughing about it, it made me uncomfortable. All jokes aside, it made me uncomfortable for you, whether you thought it was funny or not. I never thought that was funny. I don't find that funny. But because you were laughing, I was like, okay, well, maybe she's okay with that, but I still will not call her that because I know that that's a thing for me. Not that people call me that, but the weight thing.
So I know y'all said y'all saw it like a lot in school. Other than school, where do you think you see it most? Do you think it's more on social media or more in person?
I mean, I feel like when we were younger, yeah, we had MySpace, but social media wasn't nearly as big as it is now then. So I feel like when it happened with us, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, the majority of it or the bulk of it probably happened in school. Whereas kids now, they can't escape it, right? They have it at school, they got it on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, wherever.
And I do want to talk about cyberbullying in a future episode, because it is going to sound so ignorant, but I was young. When cyberbullying first became a thing, I was like, just leave the computer. You know, like I never understood it. Like, why sit there and get bullied? You know what I'm saying? But it's more than that. It's knowing people are talking about you. And like you said, you can't escape it.
The lady who was getting proposed to on Facebook some years ago. And Walmart. And they took her moment to talk about the friend in the background because of her teeth. And the girl was like, that was not about me. I was just there sharing a happy moment for someone. I can't remember if that was her friend or she was just a bystander. And it went viral because of her. And people ended up, helping her to get her teeth straightened out. So like you said, for you to just be trying to enjoy your day and then people take your picture and now you're looking and people are coming to tell you, oh girl, you're viral. And it's like, what am I viral for? Like, I don't even do anything. And then one thing that you're very insecure about, there it is for all of the world to see. Like, that has to be stressful. So social media, hell yeah. Like they said again, for me, it was in person because we didn't have those things like that when it first started happening.
Yeah.
Plus, we was just too busy trying to do our backgrounds and get our top 10 frames.
Do you think kids get it worse or adults, and why?
When you're a kid, school is everything. You don't realize that once you become an adult, school makes up a very, very small percentage of your entire life, right? But again, when you're a child, that's all you know is because that's what you do the majority of the year, the majority of the week. And so it's like, oh my God, I can't escape it. Whereas when you're an adult, you can pick and choose who you have around you, and you hopefully learn to set better boundaries as an adult than you probably do as a child. You make decisions on whether or not you want to be on social media. And if you are on social media, what are you going to post?
Like, kids get it worse because it's like you're going to an environment where it's like everyone doesn't know who they are as like personally, so that you're basically still trying to find your identity. And the fact that, like, no matter how much you personally think that, you're beautiful, whatever, there's always that one bully or that one person that makes you feel less than. And it's like, back then as a child, it really affects you. It really does. Like, as me being bullied, all through middle school and all through elementary, even though I kept a straight face while in school, but at home I was like devastated, So I definitely feel like as a child, definitely children endured more than adults. Simply because you don't know your identity yet. You're going based off of like your friends, or you're going based off of like your environment in that moment, that you don't know who you are yet. So for people to like, basically downplay you or bring down your self-esteem, that really affects you like a lot. So I would say children.
LadiiNova.
And which could potentially, go into your adulthood, especially if you've been so negatively impacted during your childhood.
So I think that if someone grew up being body shamed, then you go into the world of dating, and you have people who are like, well, you need to look a certain way to be desirable, then you may internalize that. Or on social media, people are looking for likes. You see a certain girl who looks a certain way, gets 200 plus likes, and you post a picture that's full body and you get 30, and you're like, what is happening? So I don't know.
Popularity.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it too, but that person may not receive it in that way. Because here's the thing. If your belief is that you're not attractive or you're not desirable, and you're not thinking about popularity, you're thinking, oh, this person got 200 likes, I got 30. It's confirming what you already believe about yourself, which is that I'm not pretty, I'm not attractive, I don't have a nice body. You're not thinking about if that person's more popular than you or not.
You get to school, you go there with great expectations and like high hopes, but then you have to learn that other people aren't raised like you, and they probably went through body shaming and dealt with other stuff, and that's how they cope with it. So me, it wasn't that it was bad when I was like in elementary per se, but as I got older, it was just a thing of, as old people say, doing the dozens and clowning and joking off each other. That's all I know. So when people said stuff to me, by the time I got to like middle school and high school and my face started breaking out, it's like, there's nothing you can say to me that I haven't heard from my family. So I was so quick to jump back on them with stuff because that's what I got. Like, it just was easier for me to adapt to what I had already been a part of once I got to school. As far as the social media thing with adults, you have time to go through it. So like I said, kids, that's all they know is school. They don't know anything else. So by the time you get older, you start to learn who you are or try to learn who you are, your friends. If your friends accept you, if they have conversations about certain things, you start to feel better.
One, who do you think gets it more, men or women? And then who do you think does it more, men or women?
Oh.
I mean, okay, if that's the question, it's definitely women. But what I'm going to talk about is the male experience when it comes to body shaming. So,
Okay.
yeah, because to answer your question, it's definitely women. But so
They get it more or they do more.
that get it more. Well, both shit, to be honest.
I disagree with that.
So, okay, but what I was gonna say is like when it comes to guys, I mean, the only time, in my opinion, where I think like we were like really body shamed was definitely like again during like high school or like just during that school period or shit. Well, maybe you can throw college in there too. And the only reason why I say that is because it's like we use this term called tripping. And I'm sure that's very universal, but in Charleston it's definitely famous. Which, if y'all don't know what it means, it's just talking shit. You roast, you roast people every day because of like how big or how obese they are, or you know, again, like I said in my case, how wide your nostril is, or like if your hairline receding, stuff like that. Like, so it was body shaming in that sense, where they would use humor to kind of like cover up the fact that, hey, this is definitely like hurting. This is definitely bringing down someone's self-esteem, but I'm gonna just like say it as a joke so it don't sound so it don't like come off as too negative. And I hope that makes sense. So like,
question: are you talking about the person or talk about themselves, like a comedian, or somebody would joke off of somebody else and make it as a joke?
Someone joking off somebody else to make it as a joke. That was definitely the guy perspective growing up, or to be honest, even to this day, depending on how mature you are. So yeah, like, I mean, that's in my opinion, that's definitely where the bulk of the male body shaming comes from. I don't think that, well, you know what? No, I'm gonna be honest. Now, I think that body shaming kind of does, a small percentage comes of it for guys, only because, like, you know, for, you know, guys who are more like fit, physically fit, more some guys who have abs, stuff like that. Of course, like, and I will be honest, some women like that. Well, most women like that. Most women like prefer their men to be like just fit in some way, and then like, oh, you only want a fat guy when it's winter times and cuddle up with him, like, right or wrong.
Oh man.
But all in all, to say that in a guy perspective, it's definitely not as like, and I'm gonna say like this, as a big deal when it comes to women, but definitely like when it comes to guys, it's more so in a humorous kind of way, but still kind of affects their self-esteem internally. So yeah, I'll put it like that.
I definitely think that women get it way more than men. That's not to say that it doesn't happen to men, but I think that women just get it, are body shamed more than men. I lost my train of thought. Oh, so a lot of people will say that men are more visual than women. And so they like a certain, or they may prefer a certain body type. And I feel like women, for the most part, tend to be a little more forgiving when it comes to body. I mean, or unless that's just me. Not to say that they're just going to go for someone that they're not attracted to at all, but I feel like they tend to be more forgiving in that they're not going to turn down a skinny guy because he doesn't have abs and he's not super thick and built. Go ahead.
No. Okay, so before you continue, I just kind of like, kind of picked up on what you meant by, or what you disagreed on, because, and I feel like I know what you're going to say, so I'll go ahead and let you finish.
And I think that when we are body shamed, a lot of the times we're getting it from both other women and men, whereas men, y'all are getting it from each other. Like, y'all are getting it from each other. I don't see a lot of women being like, boy, you shit bad. Like, I don't see a girl saying that to a dude. I just don't. Whereas I can see guys, they'll share a girl's picture thousands of times, like, where's she going at? She not a snack. Like, I've seen that happen so often. So I think women definitely get it more. I feel like you want to say something.
No, it's fine. And that's the part I was going to mention, because that's true. Some guys would like post a picture and be like, oh, she too dark skinned. Well, of course, we're not talking about colorism, but still, like, it's stuff like that. Like, oh, she too big, or she got big feet. Like, she must be a man, or like stuff like that. Like, so I definitely feel where you're coming from, and that's definitely been a social media or a societal issue, but more so on social media, where you see this, when you see this girl, like, oh, well, this obese, or I would say overweight woman who is in a relationship and married, like, oh, well, I can't get a man who takes me back, like stuff like that. Like, okay, so why can this person deserve love as much as you? Just because, like, they don't look like you, or they, stuff like that. So
I would say the one physical characteristic that guys probably get clowned for a lot would be height. So guys who are really short, I think a lot of times women, they might just say, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been on a date with somebody who was significantly shorter than me. And I didn't say like, oh, he's not attractive, because I actually found him attractive. I just wasn't used to dating someone shorter than me. And I mean, look at Kevin Hart. I mean, 50% of his jokes are about how tiny he is as a man. So I would say that one characteristic is something that guys definitely will get bullied for, is their height. And same for women. If women are too tall, because I've been told that too. I mean, how tall are 5'8"? Oh, wow, that's tall. Okay. Like, if it's too tall for you, great. I will keep it moving. But like, I think tall girls get it and short guys get it.
That's true.
As Daisha said, females are more forgiving or understanding, because I've seen more girls who've been going after, whose bodyguard was that? The baby's bodyguard, or
I haven't seen him.
I think his name is King or something. Real tall dude and like muscular, I guess, but he's still got like a stomach or whatever. And then more people started giving more respect to the dude who played Notorious B.I.G. So once they saw him outside of the movie, it was like, oh, he can be daddy, he's this and the third. And it wasn't the average person being like The Rock or LL Cool J or somebody who's always in the gym. So I can get that part of Daisha saying that it's more forgiving. Who does it the most?
Is massive.
Dude is huge. I think it's him and Meg Thee Stallion's bodyguard. I think those are the two that are getting talked about the most. Like you said, who gets it the most? Females, because again, like Trey said, guys will be so quick to go to social media and dog them just because they say no to something that they don't want to do. So now she like a duck. She's ugly. She's too dark. She's just, something is wrong with her just because of that. But a female only counters back with that once you've attacked them. So I've seen females who be like, oh, he's big, he's dirty and all that. That's because you done attacked them. And they was just trying to be chilled about it. Like, it's just a bunch of stupidity. For myself, I see what they should mean with females who like, they don't care. I feel like we go more for the conversation with some of us. We go more for the conversation to get to know the person before just saying, let me see your whole body before I make my decision.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because now that I think about it, any female that I've talked to that's talked to anybody on a dating app, they've never been like, well, I told him to send me a picture of his whole body before I
Right.
could
We don't do
know
that.
what we was gonna do and all this. Is just like, what do you do? What are your interests? Like, we're actually trying to have a conversation versus guys was like you say, the feet is too big and all sorts of stuff. I.e., Meg Thee Stallion. Oh, she's got to be a man for her to be that tall. I'm like, but y'all did the same thing with Serena Williams. She was a man because she worked out. But anybody else came along, oh, they're fine. Again, big Rihanna fan, did not know her height because I'm not a stalker and nothing like that. I just think she's a good person. Her and Meg Thee Stallion are like 2 inches apart. So why is Meg Thee Stallion a man and Rihanna's not? They both wear heels. Why does she have to be a whole man out here because she's tall?
Whole
That's
man.
just her height. Like we don't know who her mama and daddy is. We don't know her genetics of why she's that tall. We don't know if she's the only tall person in her family. She's just tall. But now that makes her a man. Like that was just the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. Maybe she's like me where I feel like I'm too small, and I'll revert back to myself like I said in the beginning. That's all people thought of me. You should be happy because you're small. I'm not. I don't like it. Well, I know you're healthy. You ain't got nothing to worry about. I cannot run from my front door to my mailbox. I am not healthy just because I'm small. I get winded fast. I get tired fast. Do I want to be small? No, because all I'm going to be called is like, and I laugh at them, and I laughed at them in high school. My first nickname getting there was Twiggy.
Aw.
I was Twiggy. And she rest in peace, my cousin, and I don't get mad at it because I set myself up for it. She called me Low Cell, like for low celery.
I was just going to say, I think perspective is everything. I know for me growing up, when I had friends who were your size, Megan, and they would do things like pinch at their stomach or pinch at their arms, like, I'm getting fat, blah, 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 blah. Like when they would do things like that, when I tell you that would boil my blood, when I tell you, I would leave that scenario and be so irritated because in my mind, like I said, perspective is everything. If I'm being bullied for my weight and then I have someone who's your size, okay. I mean, you may not be healthy, but you are not big in size. It would bother me so much as a kid. As an adult now, I know, okay, just because you're a certain size doesn't make you healthy or unhealthy. But I have kids that I work with now who are your size, who will say, I have friends who are skinnier than me, and I feel like I need to lose weight. Literally, your size, your height. And they think that already, 6th, 7th grade. So,
And
And now I'm like, look at that. Just getting in there. Got a little back fat. The important part is the ass is growing. That's what I really wanted.
oh
I
man.
just coming in. Especially with my daddy and Trey would notice it. I was like, this is the fun part. Other people see it.
Y'all, it's the arch for me.
Yeah, like somebody says
I cannot. So kind of going back to Megan, you said that you kind of grew up in a family where y'all jones on each other, y'all pick on each other, and it's supposed to be like a loving thing. That is one thing that my immediate family, like my mama, did not allow. She did not like, for even though it's a cultural thing, she did not like the whole like, oh, your big head, or your skinny legs. She did not like that because she felt like we're gonna have enough issues in the street. We need to be loving on each other so that we're preparing ourselves for when we go out and people may not say the nicest things. You don't want to then come home and get the same thing all over again. Also, when it comes to size, so like my roommate and I are probably around the same size, but I think for her it might be perceived different because she is white, and so for them that might be, oh, you're too big. Whereas for me, someone might be like, oh, you got curves. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, I feel like you said that earlier. So Black people, Latino people, if you have a little more weight on you, people may celebrate that. Whereas if you are white, they may think that you're too big at a certain size, and that is not cute and it's not pretty. But now we're kind of getting into this area where men expect you to have a big behind with no waist, no cellulite, no stretch marks. I don't know where that magical creature exists, but that is not reality.
Dr. Miami.
Right.
Miami.
Right, but that's not
You shut up.
natural, right? Because if you have a booty, you're gonna have cellulite. You're gonna have stretch marks. Like, that's not reality to think that someone's gonna have this massive behind, no waist, and no other marks on them. They're just
Sidebar.
smooth as butter.
I'm going to say sidebar that she may not want me to say, but I'm going to say it anyways about me. Again, I'm small and I have stretch marks.
Yeah.
You're just going to have them. I didn't say where they were.
Realize that, man.
Wants to be Kim Kardashian, all that, who have ass, and you don't have, like, your thighs don't match and everything. It's like, ugh. Go away.
Even that was a thing. Even that was a thing on social media, having a thigh gap, like your thighs not touching.
I didn't understand that. Maybe I didn't understand it because the people that was doing it was weird.
I get.
How is that
and
possible?
I think, too, people don't realize how photoshopped magazines are, or people, social media pictures in general. Like, these people get paid thousands and thousands of dollars to Photoshop these people's pictures. And it was one model, I forgot her name, who saw a picture of herself and said, I wish I looked like that. Nobody looks like that in real life. I don't even look like that, And I don't think, like, of course you teach young girls that, but even guys, I feel like, need to know that this is not real. People don't look like that. And if they do, they go to Dr. Miami or they get work done. There's nothing wrong with getting work done at all, but you can't say, oh, I want somebody natural, but then have all these requirements because the girls on TV look like that, or the girls on magazines and on photos look like that. Like I said, they get paid lots of money to crop and edit those pictures.
Guys will sit there and have a conversation because I've heard it in college. Oh, I want me a real girl, I want this. And then they were like, oh, Black China's fine. I'm like,
Hold up now.
I'm like, did you really just pick Black China over, like, I don't know, Halle Berry back in the day, even now still, all like Kyla Pratt and all these other people? I'm like no, I won't even say them. So you got Black China versus SZA. Carrie Kane, oh, her lips is too big. Something about her face is off. And I'm like, but that's her natural hair. That's her natural face. And you want Black China.
Black China looks like a dismantled Bratz doll.
Trey.
Now, I understand you're talking about body shaming, but that's what I don't get. Like everybody now is going for the same thing. Small.
It's an exaggerated look of a Black woman.
Prime example.
Let's point that out as well, because you have white girls getting lip fillers and butt shots.
It don't look like nothing filled. It don't look like nothing is filled.
Y'all remember that lip challenge that they did when they used to suck their lip in the bottle, trying to make their lips bigger?
Trying to do the Kylie Jenner lip challenge. I'm like, that's my lip my whole life that y'all made fun of, and now everybody wants to do it, and you look dumb. So prime example, Delicious from Flavor of Love. Look at her pictures from back then. Loved her back then. She was my favorite person in season 2. I see her now, and I'm like,
what did she get done? Her butt was already huge.
She got her stomach flattened, and she did a lot to her face. Like, it does not look like the same person at all.
Lil' Kim, definitely.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't know what she got.
Michael Jackson. I mean,
like,
he didn't like his nose. He got that changed till it was non-existent. It's literally just a line, a bridge.
But again, Sabria Majors, the one who, Cassondra, let me point this out again since you missed it and was late, and I'm shocked. The young lady who did the whole Beyonce thing for Halloween, I was following her before that, because she was in Sports Illustrated. Or was supposed to be in Sports Illustrated. I think they dubbed her or whatever. People would think that somebody of her height and her stature, she would not be able to do a handstand or these yoga poses. Shawty blows me out the water because I can't do any of that stuff. I am not flexible. I'm not going to be trying to hoist my body up on my forearms on the floor. You can just get the hell out of here with that. Is she doing it? Yes, she is. And then here comes the comments. Oh, you think girl her size couldn't be able to do that? Maybe she can just do that because she can do it. Because she actually tried. I'm not trying. I don't want to do it.
You can. But I mean, even like when we did lives a few episodes ago where I said Moesha came up and I talked about how it's so common for shows to paint the big girl in the show as not being desirable, as not being beautiful. And so as a kid, when you see that over and over and over again, you are going to internalize that at some point.
So you think, well, honestly, I agree with you. I mean, not really on a God perspective. I honestly think that really, like, how she explained it, like, if you're African American and you're thick, or you have, like, you know, thick thighs and a big butt, like, you're glorified for that. But let that be, you know, a white woman, or sometimes even a white man, like, oh, you need to get skinny. And it also could depend on, like, you know, the family, like, dynamic. Like, you know, if everyone's an athlete, but you're the only one who's like overweight or stuff like that, it could also depend on that as well. So I guess in a way that could be in the culture category, depending on, you know, your family dynamic as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Things I've seen on TV, I can never remember the cultures, but they wear these neck rings to make their necks longer. That is how you identify as beautiful. And they keep adding and adding. If they take those things off, they can die because you done had so much pressure with those things on. Then there's the whole foot binding thing.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get married if you have a feet that's bigger than average size. So they bind their feet, and they will go, and it's all women, they will go through so much to keep their feet about the size of my fist. The older that they get, just so they can be accepted by society. I think African society is either like this big lip piercing that they have, or their ears. The bigger, the better. And it's just across the board. So I guess that's another reason why I say women get it more, because I've only seen women go through these changes to feel accepted.
Because we haven't talked much about like hair and nose and things that are specific to African features. But I work with a lot of biracial kids, and almost all of the biracial kids that I work with live with the family that is not of color. And I have worked with some kids who hate the features that make them Black. And it's very sad to hear kids say, I don't want to be labeled Black, like flat out, I don't want to be called Black. I hate my kinky hair. I hate my nose. I hate the fact that my lips are full. Like, I hate that. I don't like how it looks. And it's because of how, I'm sure, we're painted in the media. And if you don't see that and it's not celebrated, then of course, again, you internalize those things. So.
And that's why I brought up the family dynamic, because that's a perfect example right there. Because, like, you know, if that is the case for some kids who are biracial in a majority white family, it's like you're not treated the same as everyone else who's 100% white. You know, like
yeah.
So that's why I definitely brought up the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Which could ultimately really mess up their self-esteem.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and even worse, and even worse when they're out in public, besides the household.
I've had kids who I had to teach how to take care of their hair because their white family did not teach them the correct way to do it. I mean, literally, I never thought my therapy sessions would include how to take care of your 4C hair. Like, yeah. Anyway.
All right. Lessons have you learned while learning to love your body? Or what are you learning to start to love your body?
So I've learned to say fuck everybody and what they think. Took a while.
Period.
But it's taken a long time. I still have my moments. And I guess for me, that whole family tripping, clowning thing came in for me where actually worked, because it was mostly on my daddy's side, and it wasn't a thing of like hatred. That's just how they've coped with everything. So for me, when things are brought up, I'm like, and even in high school, people would see my face and be like, ew, that's weird. And I'm like, yeah, that's why your boyfriend's trying to talk to me, because he doesn't mind, but it's whatever. You have a problem with it. I don't. They don't. So I don't know what you want to say. So now it's just me realizing I am going to be different from everybody else. I'm not like the next person. I'm not like my mama. I'm not like my sister. Nothing like my aunts and other cousins were all built differently. Point blank, period.
Kind of similar to Megan. I think it was like maybe after college when I honestly realized that I was just going to be different as fuck. For if you were anything other than an athlete, if you were anything other than like, you know, being raised, or no, I wouldn't even say being raised. I would say anything that's outside of like, you know, being overly like masculine, again, like, you know, playing sports or like having 50 million girlfriends, like you definitely were an outcast, an outsider. And, you know, I mean, I played sports up until like college, but still, like, at the end of the day, I wasn't the most popular guy in Charleston.
I just specify the sports.
Like, I'm just saying. So it's like, you know, like I said, around college, like towards like the end of my college years, I really had to come to self-realization that I was going to be different. I don't like sports like that. I don't watch sports, and I would happily say that I do not watch sports, and I never really did pay attention. So now, like with me, like I'm a creative. I like graphic design. I like computers. I like to do photography and stuff that, you know, most men from Charleston don't do, and I am honestly okay with that, and fuck everybody else who thinks otherwise. So that's why and so that was kind of like my self-realization that I really had to teach myself to be comfortable with the things that I love, the way that I look, and the way I portray myself based off of my skills, my personality, that, you know, most people won't accept, and that's okay with me.
Beautifully put.
Say that this is something that I'm still actively working on. I feel like I've always been fairly confident in who I am as a person, but when it comes to physical, it's something that I have to like constantly work at. And I think throughout childhood, I have been on diets, I have exercised, my weight has fluctuated. And this past year, last year, I did like a goal for myself because I journal. And one of the goals that I had in my journal was to be in the best shape of my life. Now, it wasn't to be a certain weight on the scale. It wasn't to please anybody else. It was for me to feel healthier, stronger, and good about me. I think beforehand, I would go on diets and exercise just to feel pretty or to feel beautiful. Whereas this time around, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with just me being healthier. A few months ago, so Kev on Stage is a comedian. He has thousands of podcasts. That was an exaggeration, but he has a lot of podcasts. One of the podcasts that he has with his wife, Melissa Fredericks, aka Mrs. Kev on Stage. And I pulled it up on Instagram so I could read how she has it. But she talks about how she has struggled with her self-worth and her self-esteem. And she started her own personal campaign. But the mantra that she repeated every day is something that I saved to my phone to remind myself. And it is, I am worth it as is, without change and without exception. And I love that, because I think in order to make any kind of changes, you have to accept where you are now. Just because I start working out doesn't mean I'm more worthy this month than I was last month just because I lost weight, or just because I'm wearing dresses and showing my legs more. That, no. Like I was I was worthy then, I'm worthy now. There's no difference. Another thing I started doing, which I have not shared with people, is that I have my own personal photo album of pictures of myself. I do not send them to anybody. It is just for me, to feel good for me. And I'll leave it at that. You, whatever you take that as, you take it. So yeah, I feel like it's an ongoing process, but it's something, I feel like I'm way better now than I was high school me. So.
Come on, Dashia. Well, this was a wonderful topic. I really, really did like
I
talking.
didn't answer the question.
A wonderful topic.
Oh,
Just let us air out all our stuff. You just say, all right, well, good night.
no, so one thing that helped me, and this is, I mean, it's gonna sound crazy. My mom.
Your life's getting hot.
Because, huh? Here we go. So about all of my the women. What did you say? Because Megan, LadiiNova won't stop laughing.
Just go
I was
ahead.
almost
Just go.
done.
Gosh, y'all. Anyway, so most of the women in my family are plus size, and I used to struggle with it like really, really bad more in like high school. I would say ninth grade, really, and then after that, it just was like I don't think I'm like I literally was like I think I'm pretty, you know what I'm saying? And from then it just was, I mean, kind of. But like I said, I think my mom helped a lot because she was always overweight and my aunts and stuff like that, but they always said, you know, it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter if you're a size 0 or a size 80, you know what I'm saying? Like if you feel how you feel, if you're healthy, I mean, you wouldn't be healthy at size 80, but if you feel healthy, if you're energized, you know what I'm saying? Like do what makes you happy, you know what I'm saying? And like Dashia said, like being healthy. And I think for me, it's when I do eat better, like I do feel the energy part is what really makes me like wanna actually eat better and, you know, be better. And my weight has fluctuated a lot, like ever since I was little, you know, like I'll lose a lot of weight and then gain a lot of weight, but overall I need to feel healthy, be confident within myself. So yeah, sorry, I felt like that was a lot, but
No.
I am so glad we had this conversation. This was so nice. If you guys listening, I would love, love, love to hear y'all personal stories. Y'all can put it under the chat in the comments, or you could even private message us. I mean, I really am interested to hear other people's stories about this kind of stuff because I feel like it kind of can be kind of weird or awkward to talk about, you know? But I feel like if we talk about it more, people can see, oh, this stuff does happen, you know? So
Join us every Monday.
Like,
Comment.
subscribe.
Yes, that's that.